Hi, so this is our companion video to our portfolio podcast video. This is where we plan to show our own portfolios so you can see them.
Yes, we were getting a lot of requests to see our physical portfolios because we talked about it in another episode. So in this one, you're going to see our portfolios from when we left school and all the different things that we tried and what worked and what didn't work. But there is a podcast for this where we discuss all of it, but this is the video where we're actually going to show you the physical portfolios.
Yes. So enjoy.
So let's get to it. I am starting with my portfolio that I left college with. So we're talking 18 years ago, because things were different back then. You would walk out with this very large briefcase that you would, where you carry your originals, or you would have something like this. This is heavy.
It looks like a gift box.
Well, it's more like this. Let me pull back so you can see.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Okay, so and it is. I'm telling you, this is a good 2 pounds, 3 pounds, so maybe more. So, of course, you want it to be as imaginative as you could in your portfolio box. So I'm trying to show it on camera. So I had a little pocket for postcards and one for business cards.
That's handy.
We had laminated resumes. I got an A on my portfolio. I still have my
Good job.
I still have my illustration portfolio and who the teacher was. I hang on to this stuff. So within it, you had the prints and they were mounted, each print mounted on a black, I have mine on a black illustration board. As you can see, I'm having a hard time holding that up. This stuff is heavy.
That looks, that is sturdy.
And the point was that you would go and you drop this off at an art director's, table, the receptionist, and they would look through it, and then you go back and you pick it up. So if you wanted to land a job in illustration back then, you would have to go to these places and spend the weekend there and try to make as many appointments as you could and see if you can get a few minutes with your director, or at the very least drop off your portfolio, then pick it up. So you would need 2 of these boxes or 3 of these boxes, depending on how many you plan to do. This was not an easy task. And
it's a workout.
I have. And what I have is, this was a color pencil, and it was a story of Jimmy Carter that I had done. Then I had oil paints. This is a friend of mine that posed from the picture. Then my first attempts at digital. And I looking at this, I'm like, wow, I can't believe it. This was Painter, and this is more.
I think it looks pretty good.
No, it doesn't show on camera. It's very digital looking.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to go as close as I can.
Oh, that's better. I can see a little better.
It's like airbrush is your best friend kind of thing. So it was all over the place. It wasn't a children's book portfolio. It was, you got out of college and you can illustrate portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So this was to show anger, and it was a collage done in Photoshop. So the background is a cracker. I don't know if you can see the texture.
Oh, no, I didn't see.
Yeah, it was using regular items. This is acrylic.
So I love that one. Wait, I want to see that one closer.
Acrylic was mainly
it's a giraffe. Okay, so
it's a flying giraffe.
A giraffe who's flying.
And it's black and white. So this would show black and white color. Thank you. Now these are prints, and they were done in photo paper, so it's like very shiny and slick. And this is, I don't know, I'm gonna tap it. Can you hear it? This is a cardboard. So the presentation is beautiful, but it's not gonna work for today's market. Okay,
and I wonder why you had to have it on such a mounted hard.
This is the way we were taught how to present.
Maybe to keep it. Maybe it was to keep it from getting touched, or
I would think so, because
preserve it better.
It's also a presentation.
Yeah.
And even when we would present our work for critique, it wasn't just tagged onto a wall. No, we had to mount it for presentation. This is the way we were always like, you showed your work has to be shown in the best, most professional way you can every time.
Mm-hmm.
And mounting it makes it look a little bit better than if I were to just give you like a printout.
Yeah.
So this would have been a book cover sample.
Yeah.
I remember it was called the Baker's Dozen. And this was pencil on board and then acrylic on color. So like, well, so this was my figure drawing class paintings. So it was a little bit of everything. And just from the sound, you can hear how heavy this thing is.
You could use that as a weapon to defend yourself.
Well,
You're
if I'm
walking through New York.
Walking through New York, someone who has never been to New York, I can defend myself with this box. That's what it's. So never used. That was what I walked out with. And then we talked about how I made life in between happen. And when I decided to go back, and actually, then I knew that I wanted to do children's book. I went ahead, and this was my first portfolio where I went in our first episode. I covered that I went to my first professional critique and a workshop through the SCBWI.
Yeah.
So this is what I went with. It was just like one of those presentation portfolios you get a staple. And it had everything that I had gathered from 15 years or 17. I forget how many. Well, I graduated in 2003. So, and then when I did this was in 2018. So 15 years.
So after doing the box portfolio for school, how did you feel about doing this one? Like, did you feel like you're
I knew
how did you
I didn't go back to the box for that conference because I knew that work was from 15 years ago. But still, I pulled some work from there because that's what I had. I remember 15 years, I drew very, very
No, I just
little.
mean the actual presentation of it. Like, did you think?
No, I just kind of knew that
you
that
never
was not,
considered bringing the box.
No, I didn't. I you know what? I'm glad I didn't.
I've got this box.
Yeah, no. So what I did, I knew very little then. So I don't know. I looked up a portfolio, something easier to carry as well. Remember, I had a broken leg also.
Yeah, it's not portable.
I had to do whatever was portable. Here we go. So this was my attempt at a digital. I was so traditional, and I was moving on to digital trying. And this is one complete different style. This is a flat.
Oh, is that a pig? Oh, it's a wolf blowing. Got it. The pig.
Blowing the pig's house down. Yeah. But it's very flat and a different style than this. Mm-hmm. This is more of the figures are drawing differently. But the colors, not only are they super saturated, the values are wrong. And I didn't see that because coming from traditional to digital, for me, was a big jump.
Yeah.
But this is what we're talking about, storytelling. So I don't know if I'm trying to show it on camera. Yeah. So you have everything. This grandpa is telling a story.
But it's a mouse.
It's a mouse. But if you see how the values are wrong, you cannot read him as well because
it's hard to see
blending in with the background.
Yeah. Okay, so I can see it better.
That is when your values are wrong. I should have
but I do like that in each one of these you do have narrative art. You have a story going on in each scene.
Do.
So
I had that, and that's what I'm saying. It was a matter of controlling the values and the color saturation and being consistent with the style. So that's why I knew what I had to do was get another portfolio going. But that's why I knew what I wanted to do was picture books, because I'm already drawing like that. I was already drawing as a narrative within the illustration.
What is the one? Is that a cat in a bathtub?
Yes. Oh. So the girl's trying to give him a bath. So this was watercolor. So here we're doing digital. Here we're doing watercolor. Yeah. I don't know why. I had
a line art.
Black and white unfinished illustration. I thought, I even put work in progress. I was showing I can do older children.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you were thinking that would be it almost looks like it's for a coloring book.
It's for, well, I was showing line. That's what I thought I was showing there, that I was showing line work. So I'm telling you, this was all over the place. This is Illustrator. So this is vector art.
Yeah, it looks vector.
And
it's a bug flying around.
Oh, it's ladybug. So the idea, every time I do an illustration, I think of the whole story. So this was, like you're in summer and the bugs are falling in love. So there's love in the air.
Okay.
So you just take the whole word. This was acrylic. This was digital. This has nothing. This is more like more middle
Spooky.
grade.
Yeah.
I like doing spooky things, and I should probably redo that. So I have some work that is, but it's very different. You see, this was more,
But and those are a
this was
different
recent,
style, but it's
because this was
still,
recent work compared to the other. And
yeah.
then look at this. This is an acrylic painting that I did in college. So we're talking, this was 2018 when I showed this portfolio. I don't know if you can see it back there on the wall. That's something I did back in college. So that was in 2002, 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in this portfolio. So I'm telling you, I was pulling work from everywhere.
And wait, and this portfolio you used in 2018?
2018, I
Yeah.
actually pulled up the date. It was September 2018 at a full focus.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a workshop, and that's where I got my first portfolio critique that made a huge difference in how I went after that. So then I worked and I had a portfolio ready, and this one is not that portfolio, but a lot of those pieces are here. Okay, so after I had gone to that workshop, and I showed up there with my little presentation portfolio, and I saw all these portfolios that these artists had that were so professional and so different from what I had. That's when I went back home and I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out. So I ended up buying one of these, and these are a little more pricey.
Yeah,
so
those aren't
it's
cheap.
yeah,
They're nice.
it's what I liked about it is that these are those post and what are they called? Post and
I think the binding is a post binding, I think.
something like that. It has a little stick here. I'm trying to
Yeah.
show it on camera.
So the paper has holes in it, or
Yes,
and you can also buy sleeves that go on them if you want to just put
you
your
do.
art into the sleeves, but you have the paper that goes on it and you put your
So
artwork on top of the
I
paper.
kind of like not to put them on sleeves because then it's not shiny and you can see the actual
Yeah.
paper and you see the texture of the paper. So after that, I started having, because my prints before were done in my HP printer on regular paper. It was bad. Then I started getting my prints done outside, and I think the website that I used was giclay.com or something like that.
Mhm.
And I'm probably mispronouncing that word, but that's what I have. So
And you printed them on a thicker paper too.
oh
right?
yes, and
Yeah.
you can see because I was working on, now by then I had moved more digital, so this is all digital, and you can see that the values are working better. By that time I had already understood how to work it, but the paper has texture, so it looks,
Nice.
it feels nice. It feels like a good print. So I have, oh my goodness, I'm trying to hold it all up and it's not working. Let me see if I do it this way. So this actually was a watercolor to begin, and then I would go into Photoshop and tweak it. Now I'm completely digital, but even comparing this to the old digital, you can see that that is working. It's not looking so different. So this is all digital work, and I do include middle grade in it. So this would be middle grade because this was the story of Helen Keller.
And
it was a narrative.
That also would be nonfiction too. So
Exactly. Nice. Yeah, but because this was for an SCBWI narrative contest, and it was someone in history. That's what the brief called for. So it was her story. So I aged her through the scene. So this is when she was little. This is when she starts to learn to communicate, and this is when she graduated. She actually graduated college. So and there's her teacher. So I do include all that, and this is hard to hold it up to the camera.
It's wide. Yeah, you've got.
So this is where reason, and that this is we were getting ready for the last conference that got canceled from the pandemic. I had this portfolio which I put on the table, and I have this portfolio that I take with me. You definitely do not need to do this. This is just what I did. I have a little logo which I changed from my original logo.
But it's still a good idea, because then when you go get a critique, you don't have to take your portfolio off
that's
the table.
Why I do it. Yeah, that's why I do it, because that way it stays on the table. Yeah, and I carry this one with me. I'm gonna tap it. So it's acrylic. It's harder.
That was nice.
It's just very nice, except that I'm always like thinking that the fingerprints will show, and I'm always afraid that it's going to scratch. But this one goes with me. This one doesn't stay at the table. And this is the one that I use for my critiques.
Is it wider or is it the same?
It's the same.
Same dimensions?
Yeah, same dimensions. And I do like to go long because when I do spreads, I can show them without having to go smaller. See, all my work is displayed large. And sometimes I do include text just to show that, hey, I have left the space for the text, or this is how I would work with text. So this is what I take with me to the critiques. This is the first piece that got me my first conference. So there is some work that is here that is a little bit older than what I'm doing now.
But you presented it a little bit differently, I think.
Yes, and also I have already pulled that out of my portfolio website. This was for that conference. I got canceled, and since then I've done more work. So I'm constantly adding work to my website and taking away the old ones.
I don't know if you have any of that on your website anymore.
I don't think so. No, I've done no new work. So these two things that you see hanging in this portfolio here with a string, in this last conference, they were allowing 2 book dummies. When I was ready for that conference, this was before I got my agent, I already had like 5 dummies ready. So I printed the best 2 that I thought would get me noticed. You do not have to do this for a dummy. This is the way I did it. You do not have to. A PDF,
a Word document,
a Word document stapled at the top is perfectly fine.
I've seen that.
Yeah, you don't have to go. I went all out because I wanted to look like a book, so I printed it out like this. And we are going to discuss in another episode how to do book dummies. We will get into it and actually show you how to do book dummies. But they look like this, and I made it look like a book. That's just because I wanted to. And you do have to attach them with a string so that they don't get lost. And that's why they're like this. So this is what would be on the table.
So they don't walk away.
So they don't walk away, exactly. And I had some with me. So for my critique, I would have shown depending on how long I had, I would show them. I also had these book dummies. So that was the plan, but that one got canceled. So I never got to use these portfolios. The thing about these portfolios is that once I print, because I was gluing them to the paper, and I'm gluing one in the back. If I want to change the order of the artwork or reuse one, pretty much don't. But I can't just take the sleeve out and then add another one, because you know how we...
so you have to redo the whole page, basically.
Yes, unless I use those little corner tabs that just hold the paper in there, I can do that as well. And then I just have to pop out the piece or not.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was a thing.
They do. They use them for like those photo albums.
Yeah.
Little corner tabs. So you know how we agonized as to what piece will be put first, because you want to start with your strong piece and finish with your strongest piece. Like it has to be that they remember your best work, right? So if I were to print it out, I wouldn't be able to have the option to switch it around.
True.
And that's what we're going to see with when you show your portfolios.
Yeah, I'm locked in.
That's it for me on my portfolios that I am going to show. So that gives you an idea. Now, please, do not need to buy this stuff. I mean, if you can afford it, if you want to have like a beautiful portfolio that makes you feel more professional, you go for it. But you don't have to. These are about $65, sometimes $75, and then you have to pay for the little inserts.
For each page, yeah. Well, you pay for the inserts, and then you have to pay to have your work printed.
This will be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
As long as your work inside is good. I think that's what matters. Presentation matters in the aspect that you look professional, you look like you know what you're doing. But if you cannot afford it, that's not a reason not to get hired. Make sure that what's inside is as great as you can make it, and try to get good prints. If it's not showing what you have on the screen, the same thing when you print it out, then you want to work on that. You want to make sure that it prints as you want it. You don't want to go to the table and say, well, it didn't print like I wanted, or that's not how the illustration actually looks online, or anything like that. if I have to go and apologize for a single piece in the portfolio, that piece should not be my portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
That's a rule. So we're going to see yours.
Yeah, so I guess it's my turn. Yeah, so but I think with your covers, yeah, and I agonized over this. I thought about, do I want to invest in the cover, a nice cover, and then I can replace the pages each time. But then I looked at the prices online, and because I'm used to actually over the years, I have printed several family photo albums for my family through Snapfish and Shutterfly. And so because I had already done several self-published books with indie authors, I was familiar with how to get a book put together and how to get it printed. And to me, that felt like an easier option than buying not an easier option, but I was comfortable with it. And so when I looked at the prices online of the actual physical cover you buy, and then you assemble it, or compared to getting a book printed through Shutterfly or Snapfish, the prices were significantly different. Like if I could get it on sale, and they had deals around that time, and I got it like literally 60% off. So I was able to get a portfolio printed for about $45, which sounds like a lot. And if you think about it, okay, $45 every year is probably going to be more than buying the cover and then buying the pages and getting pictures printed every year, because
let's say
you kind of would save money, I guess, in the long run, but not in the initial investment. It would be more, I think.
You paid $45 for your book.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you had a coupon for it.
No, that was with the coupon.
That was it? Oh, okay. Because this was $65 for the cover. And then all the sheets inside, you get like a pack for maybe $20 or something like that.
Okay, so
but
that's
then
like
I got
80.
Yeah, but then I have to pay for the prints,
right,
because I chose to pay for the prints. Now I bought a better printer, but I chose to pay for the
how
prints.
How much
then.
was each print, do you think?
I think they range, because of size. They range from about anywhere from $3 to $6 each.
And how many were there?
Well, I bought extra, so what we're talking
Just
about,
in
less
the
than
book?
12,
Yeah.
12 pieces, maybe 12 pieces.
Okay, so that's another
$30.
$30. So yeah, so like I said, the initial investment is going to be more.
You're right.
But the thing is for yours, you're not, you probably weren't buying all the prints all at once. You may have some, and then you bought some later, or, you may change your mind. So it's not an upfront full, like over $100. Where for me, I paid $45 right there on the spot. I think my first book was smaller, and I got it through, let me check. The first book I got through Shutterfly, so I used their photo albums. And what I didn't like is they wouldn't let me change the binding color. I don't know why, but and it was shiny. Glossy. It's very shiny. So I didn't like that. But this was what I went with the first time, and they had a sale. so I got it for this one. I think I got for $35, and this one is 10 by 10, so it's pretty large. I mean, this is decent size, but like I said, I don't like the shiny cover. This is all digital, and I do like that I have the year on it, so I've got it. It's like a keepsake. And it's flat laying, so I tried to make sure that I could get flat laying, because when it's sitting on a table, you wouldn't easily be able to see it and open the pages. It comes with a weird, I don't know what this is, but I don't mind it, of like a vellum page.
Yeah, you could put your a sticker of your website and your information on that.
Yeah, I could have. I didn't. So for this one, this was my first portfolio in 2018, 2019, and I didn't start with my best work. I'm not. So
that's when we met.
Yes. Yeah. This is the one we met.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the conference we met at, and I didn't have any book dummies or anything. I just had this, and this is the first time I ever put my portfolio on a portfolio table. So this is my first try.
which was impressive. I was impressed when I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh, she has a book.
I think I'm not positive. I think I was the only one with a book, but I'm not sure. I don't know for sure. And so in this one, so that year, like I said, I had done like 5 books in a year with self-published authors, just trying to get work, but also trying to, for me, it was, to learn. I put the book mock-ups of each book in here. I also included a title page, and I'm not sure why I put the title page from the book. So what I ended up doing, and like we've talked about before, I say less is more, but for this portfolio, I guess I figured more is more. And I included character sketches of the character, initial character illustrations. Like I talked about before, that this book was about a farmer in a garden. So all the main characters were garden vegetables. And so I have probably 6 pages from this book, which is not necessary. I don't know why I included so much of this work.
You were trying to show them that you can do a book.
Yes.
And that you have done a book.
And I was trying to show them that I've done several books. And so I did this with several books that I had worked on that year.
So that was your next book.
And it's the same formula. The book cover, the characters. This one was about pigs. And this one had several spot illustrations. My values are off too. I have a hard time going dark. I have a hard time with shadows and highlights when I do my work. I'm like afraid of them for some reason. Then I have 6 pages from each book in here. This one had 8. So that's pretty much half the book is in my portfolio. And this was from a drawing challenge online.
And is that Inktober? No, it was color.
It was just a mock-up of a story, Sandy Snow Day. And for some reason I felt like, I don't know why, I don't know, not sure why. I wouldn't display it like this now. And then this was client work for some birthday cards. It's not bad art, but I don't think it needs to be in a children's book portfolio. And
so that was like, this is everything I do portfolio back then.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still this. I think this is better than my very first online portfolios, which showed my logo work and things like that. But this still showed, I think, a variety of client work. The only thing in here that I did for fun was this page, and that was like a social media challenge or something for something I did online. And this is another book. So I have 3 books in here with 6 pages each of artwork. It wasn't effective. There was a lot, and I think the reason I did that was because I just didn't have enough personal work, and I was just trying to fill the book with the stuff I had, and but it didn't.
Is that the critique that you got, that you didn't have personal work in there, that you didn't have?
Yeah, she said, do you like drawing these things? To everything. She looked through, she was impressed that I had a book. And she said that, but she was looking through here and she said, do you like drawing vegetables? Because you have a lot of vegetables in here, and a whole farmer and
page on page pigs, of vegetables.
And there's a book about pigs. That's interesting. Yeah, this always seems to happen. I usually end up having books, probably because of the pictures on my portfolio, and it draws in. So yeah, I had a farm book and a pig book, and I told her, no, I'm not a big fan of drawing farmers and vegetables. And she's like, well, then don't include that in your portfolio. So that was good advice. That was helpful. But yeah, I didn't take time to do my own work. And so my portfolio really reflected that. But I didn't even think about that at the time. I was so used to um, trying to kind of grind and work and make money at doing what I liked. So I never put aside time to actually focus on personal work and improving in areas that I was weak and or enjoying drawing. And it really I forgot how to like just do stuff for fun. Like that wasn't a
I
thing.
think also you were working for self-publishing, and when you go to the conferences, you are actually having a conference with critique with an editor or art director, which is traditional publishing.
Yeah.
And you're showing a portfolio to, like, if you're trying to get a client.
Yeah.
And that's a different, like, you definitely get clients when you go to these conferences, because there's hundreds of people there that want to publish a book, and a lot of them will end up going the self-publishing route, and you
Yes.
see your portfolio and you end up with cards and you get work from there. But the actual conference is for you to try to get into the traditional publishing industry.
Mm-hmm.
And that your portfolio was reflecting their self-publishing
Yeah.
work.
The way, yeah, definitely the way you approach a self-published author or even a small publisher is different than you're going to approach an art director or an agent with your work.
For traditional publishing.
Yeah, in traditional publishing. So for the next year, 2020, where the conference was canceled, I wanted to go with a bigger, because I'd already printed a portfolio before. I was like, I found a great deal on Snapfish with like another 60% off coupon. And for almost the same price, I was able to get a 12 by 12 book, matte. I like that they even let me put text on the spine. It's a really nice book. I really like this one. I would definitely use this again. And the colors in this one are beautiful
You can tell
compared to the other quality. It's much brighter, and it printed, the blacks are really really black. And this is also flat laying. So
which was extra, right? For flat laying.
Yeah, it does. It costs a little more for flat laying, which I couldn't have afforded any of this. I mean, I would not have gone this way if it wasn't for the coupon they had at the time. But it just so happens that our conferences we go to are usually right after, I guess, the beginning of the year, and they're trying to get people to print books, so they send out coupons. So this one I actually put my website on the first page. So I had contact information on it, which I think was a good idea. I would keep that. I started, I think, with a stronger piece. It's not like my best, but I like this one, and I get a lot of good feedback on it. This is actually my cat Momo, and I drew this for fun. This is something I did on my spare time.
It shows when you do something for fun, something you enjoy.
I get better work. So this one's big, so I don't know how I'm gonna. So this one was for
you're like barely there. We can see it. We can see it. It's good.
You can't see me over the book. Yeah. So then I included. So this one I included a full page and then characters, and then full page, and then full page art, and all of these I did on my own. Not for client. None of these are client work. And then this one I tried to show a sequential piece with the girl in the garden, and then the bookworm and
an interaction of characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think by that time we worked together. We were working at the same time on these portfolios. Yeah.
Yeah. I would not do this again. I include, and in my mind, I was like, I'm going to include black and white art, but this would not be, I would not include all of my, so this is my Inktober work from 2019. I would not include this. I wouldn't display it like this if I ever.
Yeah, unless you pick one of those or two of those pieces and you actually display them. But yeah, that
it doesn't.
And definitely don't put Inktober.
No. I was like, but I'm showing that I can do hand lettering.
Yeah, that's true.
What? I don't know. So this one was also for fun. I actually did it backwards. I did this one first, and then I went back to do this one, a boy in bed, and he goes to sea.
Yeah, but when you're displaying, it doesn't matter what was done first. You kind of like go with the color theme, or you make it flow.
And then I was working on a book dummy, so I included the cover, but I didn't show it as a mock-up. I showed it as a full cover. It's a 2-page spread. and then I showed the character work for it, and then I showed the full color pages in the book.
Oh, so you were not going to attach it?
I did, yes,
You didn't have
I
it?
did
Oh.
both. I did
Oh,
both.
oh, please talk about the last
Yeah,
one.
I
Yes.
will. Oh, but I did still include old work, and I
Yeah.
would not do, and it's okay to have old work, but this one didn't, this, you can tell this doesn't fit with the rest of the book.
It doesn't
And
look like the
so I
style.
ended with my saddest piece.
No.
I did this for the logo competition for 2020, and then I didn't, it sat in my email and I didn't send it. And yeah, I
But
don't know
it's
why.
not that you didn't send it because you didn't want to.
No, I forgot. Yeah,
You thought that
I
she
thought I
had
had
sent it,
and
and it stayed there.
and it just sat there, and I didn't notice it until you won, and I was like, huh, did I ever send that? I was so busy though, I forget what I was working on something.
We were working on the portfolios at the same time. We were doing all the challenges we could find to try to get more work in there.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very hectic time.
Yeah. And so same thing, instead of printing out my book and paying for printer ink, and I didn't feel like doing that, and I had already worked with Snapfish to get my portfolio printed. I decided to do the same thing for my book dummy, which you do not have to do.
No.
This is totally this is just an 8.5, I think it's 8x8. It's whatever book size they had. And so I had a full color cover, and then when you do a book dummy, your pages are typically black and white, like we said before, and you may have 2 to 3 pages that are in color. So they're just sketches. They don't have to be fully finished.
You only finished
very
about 3
sketchy
pieces.
Yeah. This is not gonna, I'm gonna redo this. I'm working on redoing this book anyway. So yeah, so it's just black and white, just showing the story. And then it had, yeah, I'm really happy with Snapfish and their the color they do in the books. They did a pretty good job.
It's pretty cool to show the dummies like that,
Yeah.
but do not get hung up on that, because showing it like that is not going to guarantee that the book dummy is going to get picked up or anything. It's
Right.
all about the story, not even the illustrations. The illustrations have to be, we went way past what we needed to do because we wanted to. But it's not going to make a difference as to whether a book gets picked up or not. Seriously, it is about the story. And
yeah,
with traditional publishing, we are going to talk about having to get agents, and
yeah.
That's a big part of it. And we have an episode about that coming up too.
And I think that's why I'm so comfortable in self-publishing, because I have a lot of experience, getting books printed and putting them together and assembling them. So I'm more comfortable there. And that's why it's easier for me to work with self-published authors than, but in order to work in traditional publishing, you're right, it's all about the story and the craft of your writing abilities and your ability to tell a story with your art. So we each have our own strengths, and my strength is in like assembling a book.
No, but then you're also working to.
But yeah, so I took, well, in that year I took a year off, and I stopped working with clients, and I just focused on my own work.
Because you listen to the feedback that you got. Mm-hmm. You're like, all this portfolio that you were showing was none of your work. It was all client work, and you're trying to get your own book out there. And it's just like, how are you going to do it if you're not even showing what you actually would love to do?
Right.
So you took the feedback and you did something with it as well. What I like about the way you display those portfolios is that you get to keep the work that you did that year, and you can go back. I like to go back to the beginning, so you always know, like, okay, especially in those days that you're like, you're hearing no from all the gatekeepers, and you feel like, gosh, am I even going to get there or anything? It's good to look back and see how far you've come, and then you're like, okay, yeah, I can do this, and then keep going.
Yeah.
So this is why I keep that first portfolio, and I will always keep this. But what's nice about the way you print them is you have it there, and you go, in this year, this is the work I did. It's not necessary to do that, but that's what I like about when you do that. I don't think I will go that way. I think I'm always going to display them like this, because I can change things around, but I will keep these pages. And when I'm no longer using them, I'll just put a date on it and put it in a file, and my kids can burn it when I'm not longer here.
Burn it.
Or whatever they want to do with it. So yeah, that was a good, I mean, you guys saw everything. You saw from the beginning, getting out of college, and now things are not like this. We are talking about a long time ago. As we said, we started this late in the game, in our 40s, and we have been having to figure it out as we go along. We can tell you what has worked and has not worked, and the advice that we're giving you is what worked for us. So either one of these approaches on portfolios would work, as long as the work inside of it, regardless of how you display it, the work inside of it has to be good, and it has to be the best that you can do at that moment. And if you're not there, you'll get there, right? You'll keep improving. It's only one way to go, and that's up.
And it takes time. It takes time to get to these stages.
I like that we're talking about the thought process we had at that time. I think you mentioned in one of them that you had old work and new work because you were expecting the client to see, look how you have progressed through this.
Yeah.
And it's just like the thought process that went behind the choices that we made at that time. And now we're like, oh no, you don't want to do that. So if you can get something out of this, is like avoid the pitfalls and see what worked.
Yeah. We hope this gives you a better idea of what should and shouldn't be in your portfolio. And in the end, what really matters is the artwork, not your credentials, not where you've been or where you are now.
If you have any portfolio related comments or questions, we would love to hear from you. And if you've done something different that worked for you, let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to hear about it. I'm always interested to see how people are doing their portfolios because there's always a better way or a different way.
So thank you everyone for their emails, comments, and we are loving, and the reviews. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we really appreciate you. we appreciate your support. And please subscribe and like and comment. Can't get enough comments.
Yeah, and share the podcast. If you know of someone that can use this advice that is also starting out, share the podcast around.
So. Yeah, we'd love that.
All right. Thank you. See you next time.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.